Hello there. I'm Latar Dragu, and I would love to talk to you today about how to reverse engineer your nonfiction book. First of all, let me give you a little bit of a background about me and why you should listen to anything I have to say. I had a background in publishing and marketing for 18 years. I started working for Dream Homes magazine in 2002. And as I worked for the company over the years, I took on more and more tasks, more job positions as time went on. I transitioned from photo editor to editorial manager to marketing manager and then assistant publisher. And then in March of 2020, during the COVID shutdown, I was laid off. And my 18-year-long career, which I thought was going to last me the rest of my life, was then suddenly gone. And instead of jumping back into an employee role, I decided to take the knowledge that I learned and start my own business. So I started Ideal Marketing Solutions, and I help people with their branding, their online marketing, their graphic design. And I've worked with several brands such as Berkshire Hathaway, Sotheby's, Hot Living, Everett Stunts, Meredith Bear, Eric Lofholm, and many others. So who is this for? Writing a nonfiction book can help a lot of different people, including coaches, speakers, consultants, aspiring authors, small business owners, service providers, course creators, entrepreneurs, salespeople, and many more. And I just wanted to place this disclaimer here that if you are not in one of those categories, if you're already a published author, a children's book writer, fiction writer, poetry writer, short story writer, what have you, you can still get knowledge from this, even if you don't use all of the tactics that I talk about here. So the first step is to ask yourself, why do you want to write a book? What is the purpose of your book? Be very intentional about this and plan your marketing before you even write your book. If you've already started writing, that's okay too. But what I want you to do is take all of those writings that you have and organize them into very intentional structures and figure out how your writings fit into the grander scheme of things. So just a little word of warning here. Some people might want to share the story about their lives and, put a book out about their memoirs. That's perfectly fine, especially if you've done something extraordinary with your life, if you've overcome great odds, if you are a cancer survivor or something of that nature, you have bragging rights to something, then people will have a reason to want to read your book. But if you're just writing to write and share your personal life experience, then that's also perfectly fine. But if you don't get a lot of people buying your book, it's probably because people don't know who you are and there's no compelling reason for them to want to read your book. So what you can do is you can take these different stories from your life that were kind of pivotal moments that created you and who you are. You can take these stories and attach them to something that is relevant to the reader. You can say, well, don't make the same mistakes I did. Learn from my mistakes. or you could be showing them a lesson to be learned from this experience that you had. Also, stories make it so concepts can be more easily understood. So that's another reason why to combine the stories with ways that you can help the reader, because you want to create an outcome for your reader. Now, again, if you're like a fiction writer or whatnot, you can this can still hold true, because what's in it for the reader? It could be nothing more than entertainment. Maybe they just want to read the book because it's a great story. That's still giving them an outcome. But think about that. What is the outcome for the reader? You want to be able to connect with the reader. This is kind of a rapport piece, especially if you're doing things like how-to, like instructional books. That's you want to make sure that you make that connection with them, because you're building trust and rapport through your book. So, cold hard truth here. Sorry to be so mean about it, but unless you're Jack Canfield, you're probably not going to make millions of dollars and sell millions of copies of your book. So many people who want to be an author have this mistaken impression that they can write a book and then kick back and live off of the royalties for the rest of their lives. That's typically not how it works. Research suggests that the average book sells about 250 copies in its lifetime. The profit from your book sales will probably not even exceed the cost of publishing. So these are just things to keep in mind when you're going through the thought process of, how am I going to monetize this book? Again, what is the reason for this book? If you're writing it because you think you can live off the royalties for the rest of your life, you might be a little bit misguided. So that's why I wanted to be a little bit blunt with you on this information, because I wouldn't want you to go through that entire journey only to discover the massive disappointment at the end when you only sell 50 copies of your book. So here's what I suggest you focus on instead of the actual book sales. So focus on how your story relates to others, how the book can become a connection piece to build rapport and trust, how your book positions you as the authority and expert in your niche, how you can monetize your book in other ways than just book sales. And we will go into each of these in a bit. So your book can be a tool to open doors to opportunities that will help you build your business. Your book can provide value to your audience, expand your brand awareness, create authority, build your contact list. Here's one of the things you can do. You can, especially if you've already written your book and all of these other strategies I'm talking to you about can't apply to you because you've already written it. It's already published and out there. What you can simply do is take a PDF of your book, put it on a landing page, and use that as your lead magnet. And now say, I'll let you download my entire book. Just go to this landing page and put in your email address, and you can download it for free. So then now it becomes a lead magnet, and you're growing your email list. Next is getting sales and clients. If done correctly, you could get people reaching out to you saying, I want to work with you. Or you get them into some sort of customer journey with you where it ends up they are your client or they buy something from you. Okay. Booking speaking gigs. This is huge. And I think that a lot of people, even existing authors, might underestimate the power of being an author. That's why one of my past summits was Author Equals Authority, because it really does open up these doors for you. Let's say that you're trying to book an interview on podcasts. So you're reaching out, you're trying to, get interviews, get other speaking gigs as well, speaking on summits and whatnot. But once they find out that you're a published author, then you will get to the top of that list of people, tens of people hundreds of people, thousands of people reaching out to these podcast hosts and whatnot, trying to get a interview. So that will help you stand out and differentiate you from a lot of these other speakers who are also clamoring for these speaking gigs. And of course, having a book or series of books will attract your attract a fan base to you. So in the process of writing your book, sit down and just write down the answers to these questions to get clarity on how you want to structure your book, what topic you want to write the book about, and how to use that book as a marketing tool. So here's some of the first questions. What is your gift? What are you great at? What is it that people come to you to seek advice or ask for help? What is it? What comes to you so naturally that you don't even think about it? You think it comes easy for everybody. What is that gift? And then think about who needs your help. Who are all the people who can benefit from what you provide? Whether it's a service, whether it's a program, whether it's coaching one-on-one, whether it's a product, it doesn't really matter. What is it that what you do can help people, and who are those people? But once you figure out who those people are that need what you have to, who need what you provide, you also want to take a look at who do you actually want to help? Because people that need it are not necessarily your ideal clients. So you want to pull from that group of people that need what you do and figure out which of those categories of people are the people that you actually want to serve, you actually want to work with, and it fills you with joy by helping them. So who do you want to help? Next is, how do you help them? What is it exactly that you do? What service do you provide? What outcome are you creating for them? And then what outcome do you want from your book? So in some instances, these can be the same, and I've seen this done, and I've seen this done successfully, where the way that you help them as a client and the way that the information that you provide to them in the book are the same. So that's one way to do it. But I like to do it so that the book doesn't actually solve that final problem. The book is the intermediary problem that they might have. And then once they solve that problem, then their next step would be to work with you. And I'll go back into that just a little bit more. So here we go. What are the reader's next steps with you? So what is the first problem you're solving? You're solving that with the book. What other problem can you help them with that would lead them into your program or call to action? So you're solving their problem, and then there's a secondary problem that comes up after they solve that problem, the first problem. And in that second problem, that is where you inject your call to action so that your book is opening the door to them working with you in the future. And you definitely want to have some sort of call to action in your book, because you can provide the perfect solution to what your ideal client is seeking out. And yet, if you don't have that next step, they might not actively reach out to you. So you want to make that call to action in there so that it's super simple to take that next best step. So also, in addition to solving that first problem, your book is going to answer objections preemptively. So think about the objections that you typically get when you are trying to close a sale. And then think about, how can my book overcome that objection before they even reach out to me to become my client? So think about, how can you solve those objections? You can use stories. You can use case studies. You can say, so and so was living to paycheck, and she didn't think that she had enough money to be able to work with me, but then something in her said, go ahead and go for it. And she invested in herself, and it turns out that I was able to 10x her income. So now she's not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. So in that little story, I'm overcoming the money objection, right? So think about how your book, with these little anecdotal stories, can overcome these objections before they even become objections, so that they come to you primed and ready to buy. So based on your answers, list 10 topics you can write about. And just brainstorm here for a minute. What are all of the things that your book can solve that would be that intermediary step between your audience and you? And, just list them out. Now, you want your book to be the bridge between you and your readers. How can you most successfully bridge that gap from where they are to wanting to buy from you? What are the top 3 topics that you can write about that will align with your area of expertise and build that bridge successfully? And again, you're not necessarily solving that ultimate problem for them. You're just solving that first gap. You're just overcoming the gap from A to B. You're not getting them from A to Z, if that makes sense. Okay. So also, take 3 ideas and see how you can create a call to action in your book that will bring your readers into your world. So first, you want to brainstorm, what are all of the calls to action that I can provide? Or if you have lead magnets, or if you have an online course, or if you want to book a one-on-one call, you can say, I can give you a complimentary coaching session and actually provide value in that meeting. Don't just have it be a hard sale pitch. So now you're providing more value. So you've already provided them value through the book, and now you want to provide more value through the next step. And in so doing, you're opening up that door, and you're creating this funnel where people are taking an obvious next step. It just seems like a natural progression in their mind, because they're like, well, now that I have this knowledge, I obviously have this problem to overcome still. So I see you as the authority because I read your book, so I'm going to reach out to you. But don't just have them reach out to you. Make that interim step super simple, super easy. Create the clearest, simplest path for them to work with you.